There are moments in life that leave us defenseless and destroy everything we believe in. This story is a story of infidelity that I saw with my own eyes. My wife, a woman I loved and trusted, betrayed me with another right before my eyes. I stood there, dazed and speechless, unable to believe my eyes. In this video, I will tell you the amazing story of a cheating wife, where betrayal and love are intertwined and the dramas of fate reach their climax. Are you ready to dive into this world where hearts are broken and trust is shattered? Prepare to be immersed in a story where true faces are revealed and the consequences leave an unforgettable mark. Welcome to Amazing Stories of Cheating Wives and Dramas of Fate, where every decision can change everything we know. We begin. So, my future wife, I knew long before our relationship, as there was and is now a friend who studied with her in the same group. Let it be Kay. So we met at a common party. My future wife was always a star of parties, beautiful, shapely, though I did not pay much attention to her, because either I had another girlfriend at that time, or I did not care, or she had some guy, including, by the way, another acquaintance of mine. Let it be A, though not for long. By the will of fate, my future wife and I started working together in one large organization, but in different divisions. This same friend, Kay, thought of marrying his girlfriend, with whom he knew from university, also one of my future wife's classmates. Here, at the wedding of friends, we somehow became close, began to communicate. Then at work, we started to correspond by mail, then dates, walks, and everything spun up. Naturally, there was a wedding. All in all, everything is great. Not once did my wife ever give me a reason to doubt myself. I always let her go on corporate parties, to a pub with friends, and even to clubs. Jealousy was not at all. How about that? A couple of times we were too much. No more than that. First call. It all started last year, in the spring. We were celebrating Kay's birthday with a bunch of guys, talking and joking and all that. The conversation got pretty heated, and an acquaintance of mine, the same A, who had been hooking up with my wife long before I talked to her, asks, "Do you think your wife is cheating on you?" I tell him, I don't know how the fuck I know. I hope she's not cheating. But if you have any information, please share it. Friend K smiled wryly. This I clearly picked up, and it wasn't my imagination. Then the topic switched to another conversation, and everyone chimed in, including me. A small digression. Before this birthday, I don't remember when, I was smoking on the balcony with a friend of Kay's, and it was also a conversation of procrastination. And he said that my wife is not cheating on me, because he loves me a lot. Well, I didn't think much of it at the time. And this friend Kay is a big fan of fucking everything that moves, and his wife knows about it. He told me once that he almost talked his friend's wife into intimacy. She didn't seem to mind, but still she talked her way out of it. Later, this proved to be true. One more thing. When we went to visit Kay and his wife, my beloved always wore makeup as a parade, tried to wear short dresses, and just provocative. When we went to visit my brother, she dressed as usual and practically no makeup. This, by the way, was noticed in a large number of joint meetings, not only by me, but also by my brother and his wife. Second caller. Last year, in the summer, rented a cottage for the weekend. There were 4 families, all with children. On this vacation, I began to notice one thing. At all gatherings, songs with guitar, various games, a table with munchies and other things. My wife was sitting next to Kay. That is more than me next to him. Either she sat next to him, even though there were plenty of empty seats, or he sat next to my wife. On the last day, I purposely removed myself from the general company under the pretext of hanging out in the hammock over a book, and the same thing happened. My wife and he always sat together. After my observations, I asked my cousin, who was also with my wife and I, "Had you noticed this? Or am I being paranoid and dumbfounded?" He confirmed that he and his wife this theme of my wife and Kay hanging out together immediately. and it was all the time on this vacation, which means I was not mistaken. Why did I get in trouble for these harmless sit-ups? Working at different jobs and in different teams, I have observed a similar picture. The lovers of the colleagues did not even hesitate to engage in intimacy at work, always at all events like birthdays, holidays, corporate parties, sitting together. It was at 2 different jobs and in different teams, but the behavior was the same. After that, there was a serious conversation with his wife. Of course, the tears and sobbing, saying that someone wants to destroy our family, do you want me to stop talking to her, and so on. Okay, the subject was hushed up. I believed it. Since then, my wife does not sit down at general parties next to him at all. Dresses normally to visit him and his wife. Third caller. Genital herpes. In the fall of 2016, I let my wife go to Thailand with the baby and my mother-in-law. I could not go myself as I was finishing repairs in the bathroom and toilet. Upon arrival, we made love, and 2 or 3 days later, I got this herpes. Excuse me, yes, right there. The information is contradictory. The doctor, aunt, convinced me that it was due to a weakened immune system and hypothermia. By the way, herpes on my lips I have about once a year. Plus, I had severe hypothermia for 2 to 3 weeks before the appearance of this very herpes. But it is strange that I gave my wife a debriefing and she didn't give me one. Well, if she was innocent, she would have chewed me out anyway, and her behavior changed. Anyway, I of course got mad, pressed her morally, and yes, that was it. Doctors said different things, and most of them tend to believe that it is not only sexually transmitted. The tests, from her words, were clean, though I have not seen it myself. The fourth call. Last month, we invited guests to our house. Ka and his wife and another friend without a husband, who was molested by Ka. We drank some beers and chatted. He was a little tipsy, so to speak. Well, somehow my wife happened to be sitting next to him, and I was sitting across from him. Suddenly, my wife pulls his hand away. Kay was wagging my wife's leg, even though I couldn't see it. And she says to this guy, "What the hell are you doing?" In a drunken stupor, with a sass, he gives my wife the following. "I do not understand before you can, and now you cannot." I am just stunned by this statement. I ask Ka, "And can you tell me more? When was it allowed? Yesterday, last week, last year, when was it okay for you to touch my wife?" I repeat my question twice. He sits there silent. I ask my wife. She says she's never been allowed to touch my wife, and she's not involved. And Kay was just like a dumbass, silent. I tell him, "Get your shit together and get the fuck out of here before I drag you in. Time's up." Wife Ka also bustled about, saying, "Yes, it's time for us to go." He had too much to drink. After this mess, I had 2 tough conversations with my wife. She assured me that it was all bullshit. It was an accident. When he was drunk, he would sort of pinch me in a friendly way as a joke, and so on. You know, like a classmate's ex. I asked him, maybe he likes you too. Well, just as a friend. No, I love you, all that. I suggested she take a polygraph. She doesn't mind, but like if she's not guilty, she's gonna wonder if we should live together. I said, fuck it, no problem. Go ahead. Then I calmed down a little bit because my wife agreed to take a lie detector test. In general, the case was hushed up, but I don't have any fucking peace of mind at all. After that, my wife was like a silk. Not a word against me, quieter than water, lower than the grass. It's very noticeable. I know her behavior very well. When I asked why you did not tell me earlier about his touching molestation, she said that she did not want to quarrel. To which I object that, of course, it is better to break up with me up to the point of divorce than to be friends with this Ka. Stupid, I say, and she bursts into tears. Just pisses me off with her stupidity. I haven't spoken to that asshole since. I'd really like to talk to him, though. I thought that the truth is not to achieve. It will still bounce back. Now I think I made a mistake. I should have done it hot, That is, the next day, I cut my head to make a conversation with him. After all these situations, bad thoughts pop into my head, right up to the fact that the wife may be out and about at work. So far, I've put everything on pause. After I get out of the hospital, I will have an operation, so I will definitely surprise her with a lie detector. Well, is it really a diabolical coincidence? Genital herpes. Not necessarily, because everything was in Thailand and with this very Ka, hanging out with him and harassing him. But I don't believe it. Something obviously happened. Anyway, that's about it. I would be grateful for advice and help with my question. So, dear listeners, I'm confused as to what grade to give to today's hero. Well, if he had 4 bells, well, let's give him 4 out of 10. He's a dear. Well, I think it's fair, because objectively the fact of treason was not proven, and something straight such a lot of Frank. He allegedly does not understand and allegedly has not even seen. Which of course is nonsense. In fact, any normal man who noticed that his wife is touched, no matter who, even if I do not know what his brother, although, God, I do not even want to imagine, but you know what I mean, right? So what do you want? The man in front of you all and more, so that a normal man would have done. Of course, would have dragged him right away, and no one would wonder that you then will communicate, you will not. In general, it seems to me, there are not really friends in this life. By the way, do you think there are any friends? Here's what's interesting. That's an interesting topic we just touched on, isn't it? Unexpectedly for a topic about infidelity, but I want to read what you think about it. Well, I have more than 1 or 2 friends, if there are any, and he valued something, and judging by all appearances, so does she. Well, once she became silky, then, I think, everything is clear. About herpes, here is a professional opinion, which I will share. I found it beforehand. I studied this issue. It does not manifest itself for nothing. Indeed, herpes virus is in every adult body. That is, there are 98 to 99% of adults have herpes, type 6. I think, type 5, they are hidden. When immunity goes down, they show up, but man, definitely not genetically. Well, agree. If I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments. Oh, so many comments to come today. So many questions to discuss, already anticipating. So there you go, fellow author. No, it doesn't happen that way. It's not a coincidence, and Thailand is basically the place to be. Interesting? We all know what. Friends, I'm waiting for your opinions. I cannot wait to read them and talk to you. And I also want to thank you, as I do in almost every video, for watching, for what you put the likes, write comments, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel. And we move on to the second story. Imagine this picture. I caught my wife on the arm with her lover. My heart clenched in that second, and the world around me ceased to exist. I could never have imagined that cheating could be so cruel, so ruthless. In this video, I will tell you the story that turned my life upside down and show you how cheating can get to the very depths of our souls. Are you ready to hear a story where betrayal and pain merge together and the dramas of fate explode in our hearts? Get ready to dive into this world where secrets are revealed and decisions have unpredictable consequences. Welcome to a world of drama and infidelity, where every step can lead us to grandiose changes and evoke strong emotions. I am 31, she is 34 with his girlfriend. We have for 5 years. She is my beautiful, groomed, and bright. I have always been interested in her, and we both love each other. We could not get married right away, because my parents did not accept it. She is a few years older than me, and besides, she had a bad marriage before me from which there is a child. Her ex-husband was just a jerk, and they divorced. My parents thought she was a bad match for me as I had never been married. But I did not listen to anyone. This is my personal life. And we were to decide how to live our lives. Decided that over time, the dislike of my relatives will pass in the end. And it happened, so now they communicate nicely. The difference in age, we did not feel there is. The baby is a couple of years old. I love her very much. He has become like family to me. We have become good friends. All her relatives know me over the years. I have proven to them that my intentions are very serious and I maintain a good relationship with them. Also in everyday life, I will say that we had serious small problems, so life is like without them, financial, personal, and household problems they solved by us. But I think that only with the right approach to them is not it so in general. All as people we immediately began to live as a young family. Yes, it is a family we got together and began to build our family happiness. And I trusted always, and see their reasons not to trust was not up to the point. And here is how it all started. The first story, 6 months ago. I saw her personal correspondence. She forgot to close her agent, seemed nothing special, but at the same time, there was a moment in the correspondence where she wrote him what city she was in and what she was doing, and a little later in her smartphone, just leaking correspondence here sap. I saw him among her contacts, a showdown, and eventually she explained that it was just a correspondence and nothing more since the man. I in turn tried to understand her. She said it was the first and last time, but she did not give access to her smartphone. She set a password and made all sorts of excuses. And this despite the fact that my smartphone she could always take and view anything, calls, contacts, sums, and so on she may have unknowingly sowed in my head a grain of doubt and mistrust that began to grow. And I began to watch her second story. In March of this year, I saw her real correspondence in Classmates. She sweetly corresponded with some guy sending his photos and had a conversation on intimate topics. She gave him her number, which I do not know. They called just a few days before her account was cracked. They decided to meet, but it did not work out because at that moment when he was going to, her phone ran out of battery. The meeting did not take place. Then he wrote her angry letters that they could not meet because of her fault and set a new meeting. But then I found out that the man with whom she was in correspondence is unattractive in appearance, and judging by correspondence, he had a skin disease, and assured her that it is not contagious. Testers, and again arguments, again nerves. She swore it was an innocent joke from her side, that she overreached and would never cheat on me. And you know, all these female standard phrases say they get enough attention, not enough talk, and so on. About my state of mind, I'm not even talking, and I forgave her because I knew that although it is possible that everything was going to cheat on her part, cheating except for correspondence and talking on the phone was not. I gave her a chance. She deleted herself from social networks. I started paying more attention to her, and like all subsided. But there is smoke without fire. Stories after the second case I installed on your computer software that monitors the keys switching. You know how she left her mail.ru. With the help of this program, I found out a password from her mail. I have periodically entered while she did not know and checked her mail. All was clean a few days ago. She has left in other city to parents. I have gone to her mail, has checked as usual, empty, has gone to an agent, empty. No reason to worry until I have decided to look through history of dialogue in agent, and all fizz. My life has ruined exactly that moment from correspondence. I have found out that she, from the moment we have decided to live together in parallel, met with the lover, and it proceeded very long. The same, she gives him a number that I do not know, only from saved correspondence. I know that she met him incidentally more than once and cheated on me in a very perverted form. They always the next day have a habit of discussing their meeting. He and she did not hide that they have it was the norm for them. When he asked her at home, the house where we lived with her, she answered that she was not at home alone and lived with her brother. You guessed who his brother was. I kidding, just a fraction of what I read there, just disgusting and abominable. It's good that she went to another city. Had she been there, I swear to God, I would have killed her without a second thought, as she is far away from me now. I told her on the phone that I exposed her lies and that I'm leaving her. She cried again, justifying that, you see, when we lived with her and made plans for the future, she was not confident in me. Imagine her excuses when I took responsibility for her life, for the life of her child, to deal with misunderstanding of their parents. In the end, when madly loved her and told everyone that I had a wife, not a girlfriend, and she knew it, and it was her excuse, even if we were not married but lived as a full family, when even all our neighbors thought that we were a married couple. That's what our relationship was like. And according to her, it turns out that a stamp in the passport would keep her from cheating. To hell with it. Not sure, and me change it for themselves, but not for 3 years. And all these years brazenly betrayed me. All these years thinking only about her and our well-being. I cared about everything, shared and gave, and dreamed of a strong and close-knit family. You know what else killed me is that she said that she and her lover were not seeing each other for a long time because her lover got married. That's how she turned out to be a moralist with high moral values. Now she is asking me to give her another chance to start our life over again. And I packed on her doorstep and don't know how I will live. I realize how much I love her and our house and how she treated me, and that I don't want to live anymore. I became the living corpse these days. I died, the world faded for me, my ideals of life crumbled. I have a good position with a very good salary, but I don't want any more. But I want to get away from this city and forget who I lived all these years and our plans for life. What man was with me, a fallen woman that I loved, that was the meaning of life for me. That pretended to be an adequate, intelligent person turned out to be just a vile creature. I'm not perfect, probably, but I never cheated and did not give her credit, though there were plenty of options. I just loved her. And how can I go on living vengeance? I pity her. And then she asks me to also cheat on her with someone, and supposedly we will be even on this bitch. How I was blind. This is my story. I wish the enemy never lived through this, to be honest. It all seems horrible, emptiness inside. Thanks for attention. By the way, sorry for the long and maybe somewhat confusing story. Just I have not slept for the past 24 hours and also did not eat anything. Would be grateful for your advice on the script. The most frustrating thing is that since we started living together, almost every day we said to each other, I love you, and at the same time, she may be these same words said in parallel. Why did she need me all these years? I cannot find answers to such pies, and I catch myself thinking that I really love her and may. I can't understand what the fuck is going on with me. Love is pain. To your listener, thank you for joining this video, for listening to this story, and also thank you for subscribing to the channel. Give us the likes and dislikes and discuss our story in the comments below the video. It helps channel hurry and attract new audience. Thank you and wish you well, first of all, in family life. See you soon.